Hello traders, Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com, June the 15th, 2025. In this edition of your weekend video newsletter, we'll discuss the markets, S&P 500, retesting all-time highs, then fading on Israel-Iran news, backing down towards the 21-day moving average. This leaves us with 4 bullish indicators, 11 neutral, and 5 bearish to start the week. Gold, silver, and energy stocks bounced as rotation into the safety trade garnered the most attention into the close on Friday. Most of the indices faded from a retest of all-time highs, S&P 500 approaching 6060 before fading back towards the 21-day moving average. With the New York FANG components, 10 stocks mixed on the week. 5 out of 5 were bullish, 5 were bearish. We did close just above the 21-day moving average, but a little tighter price action, only 10 stocks, with RSI starting to fade. MACD and stochastics are still very strong. With all the other indices doing something similar, New York Stock Exchange dropped back down below 20,000 with advanced decline and new highs, new lows, turning a little bit more neutral with breadth fading throughout the week from Wednesday on. S&P 500 in the top panel, mid caps, small caps, and NASDAQ in descending order, all below the zero line. And as breadth deteriorated, we had volatility picking up. We have a bearish signal on the VIX with vol picking up and VIX closing at the weekly highs. In this situation where breadth is deteriorating, the markets are pulling back, sectors are showing rotation, and VIX is moving higher. We're neutral to bearish to start the week, starting off with a bit of caution on Monday morning. Let's wait for Sunday night futures to see how the markets react to more Israeli strikes on Iran with the military in disarray. As far as bonds go, junk bonds are still inside of a range. Bollinger Bands contracting below the 200-day moving average, with high-yield corporate debt closing just below the 9 EMA, above the 21-day in a bullish trend, but certainly not bearish at the moment. Fading off the highs, with yields finding a bit of support. This is the 10-year yield bouncing at the 50-day, with silver and energy grinding higher, looking like it may break out this week, along with energy stocks, crude oil, gasoline, all higher to end the week, along with commodities, which gapped up on Friday. Watch the Deutsche Bank Commodity Index. We want this to fade from these recent highs, resistance, to start the week. If not, we'll see more pressure on equities in the short term. With crude oil and gasoline stocks all on fire last week, we're more than likely going to see a follow-through. All depends on the news coming out Sunday night with futures into Monday morning. Finally, with the U.S. dollar near the lows and bonds moving lower, yields moving higher, gold and silver elevated, crude oil breaking out, would be more neutral to bearish with these indicators to start Monday trading. As such, we'll start off with a bit of caution on Monday morning, with bonds, currencies, and commodities giving us a bearish to neutral signal. All sectors pull back, with energy stocks moving higher. This is telling you that rotation has set in. Tech is holding up fairly well above the 21-day moving average, 20 and 50-day rising. Wait for Monday morning to see how the markets start off, and we'll go from there. The same goes for small cap sectors. 8 of 9 were lower last week, with energy the only sector moving higher, with all of the large cap and mid cap energy stocks last week. Most of the stocks on the IBD 50 that show up on the list below look like they could follow through this week. In addition, we have stocks making new highs and stocks on the stock chart's technical rank in cyan moving higher. Most of those are oil and gas, energy related names. Some oil and gas and LNG shipping stocks also moving higher, like STNG, Scorpio Tankers, which moved higher in addition to all the stocks in the group, like TK Tankers, Zim Integrated, Navios Maritime, Nordic American, Kirby, Genco Shipping, Golar, Diana Shipping. All of these stocks moving higher last week, with the Baltic Dry Index moving to new 52-week highs, as the entire group shows strength, exemplified by the weekly time frame moving back up to recent resistance that we saw earlier in 2024. With energy in play, we also want to keep an eye out on most of the stocks that we pointed to last week that we're following through, like Halliburton, One Position, Baker Hughes, Marathon, Murphy Oil, all of these moving higher last week. Keep an eye on energy. This is most likely going to be a follow-through week if the Middle East conflict doesn't get resolved in the short term. Apache, APA, Bollinger Bands expanding, closed at the 200-day moving average. Stochastics, MACD, and volume all show institutional interest, with RSI showing muscle. With the majors like CVX, Chevron breaking higher, volume pretty obvious. MACD, Stochastic, and RSI all supportive. The entire group moving higher. ConocoPhillips, ExxonMobil closing above the 200-day moving average. Range Resources highlighted by IBD, Swing Trader on Friday, looking for the follow-through. Volume, MACD, Stochastics all look very strong. RSI rising. Look for a break above this triple, quadruple top. And don't forget the shipping stocks. These all look very strong. Scorpio Tankers breaking above recent highs. On volume, MACD, Stochastics rising. RSI showing strength of trend is persistent. Looking for continuation in many of these shipping stocks this week. Okay, traders, that's going to do it for me. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com with your weekend video newsletter for June the 15th, 2025. I'll send out a watch list later tonight of the best looking stocks around 12 midnight on the East Coast, around 9 o'clock on the West Coast, so be sure to check your inbox for that later tonight. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be a little cautious to start the week. Take care. Have a great weekend, what's left of it, and we'll see you in the morning. Ciao.